Welcome home. This is the Irish Roots Cafe, where every day's a holiday and there's always room for one more. Come right this way, have a seat with me today in the corner booth celebrating our 85th week. Sweeney clear the floor, Katie bar the door, Molly put on another pot of Irish coffee. It's time we get this show on the road. Got another full house today, not a chair to spare. I'm Mike OLaughlin, your host. You can reach me on my webpage anytime at irishroots.com, and you can check out our written show notes on the blog. I got some extra things in there, and you can just click on some links, and it'll take you to some of the places we're talking about here. Saves a lot of time not having to go through all those wwws, you know what I mean? And you can also, on our webpage, search all of our books and our videos and our podcasts. And if you want to leave a comment, or if you have an idea, or if you'd like to phone in and say something on the air, just call my recorder at 816-256-3360 to leave your comments. Try it, you'll like it. Now, among today's topics, Scanlan is the family name of the day. County Sligo genealogy is the book of the month. Savage, Keenan, O'Connor, Kelliher, Byrnes, and Power family searches. Looking for Irish singers and songs. Those folks that might know some history to go along with it. Hey, and number 5, UFOs over Ireland. Just what kind and where? And number 6, Irish language place names, along with their English equivalents. And number 7, the song and recitation broadcast begins its second season. Hey, you know what? You can get all 3 of my free broadcasts online, and actually we got a fourth option now. You got this Irish Families Worldwide broadcast or podcast, just as it is, and then we've added the enhanced version that has some photographs and links. You can click right along with it if you have that kind of setup. You'll know better than I, but you can go with that if you're sort of on top of the tech stuff. You can get our enhanced version that has photos and links in the photos on it. And then you can go to our Irish in America podcast. We have to start our next season on that probably in a couple of months, but we've already got about 20 or so up and running. And our Irish Song and Recitation Festival podcast. So we've got 4 options, and they're all there for your free enjoyment. Let's move on to our notes for the week. Hey, you know what? Here at the cafe, we've been having a lot of fun. We just realized it was our 30th year anniversary here at the Irish Roots Cafe and the Irish Genealogical Foundation. Who would have thunk that possible? I tell you, it's a long, long way from here to Tipperary, and we've sure enjoyed it. And this podcast is just one of our latest fun things we've done, and it's really been interesting to see things develop since the late 1970s. I tell you what. I just hope I'm here for the next thing that comes along. Hey, and we've also, our second note for the week, we've begun recording our second season for the Irish Song and Recitation broadcast. So be sure to call me if you have some knowledge of Irish song or recitation. You don't have to be a professional. You can be a professional too. But we just want somebody who knows a little bit about Irish song or a special recitation, and maybe sing a bar or two of that song, or make that recitation on my recorder, and we'll put it on the air, and you can share it with everybody, because I tell you what, doesn't matter how much you know, there's always some little nook and cranny you don't know, and you're going to help somebody learn something. And after all, it's all for free, and it's all for fun. Hey, let's move on now to the book of the month. Well, the book of the month is going to be County Sligo, Ireland Genealogy and Family History Notes. That's part of my 34-volume set on the Irish Families Project, which is basically to give people a foothold to start their research no matter which county they're in. We got all the counties down, so this month we'll just sort of take a look at Sligo real quick. And while we're here, why don't we just sort of mention the County Sligo families that are listed on the map of the Four Masters in the Annals of Ireland by the Four Masters. That's our Scanlan translation we did in 2003. And those names, well, there's too many to list altogether, but gosh, we got, of course, Burke. Of course, they're in a lot of counties, but McFurbus and Conway and Dermott, McDonough, Garrity, Brogan, Coleman, Conatee, Connor, Feeney, Finnegan, O'Hara, O'Hart, O'Meehan, Mongan, Mullaney, Mulvaney, Spillane. The list never ends. I got the full list on the blog, so just go to our webpage at irishroots.com and take a look at the blog, and you'll be taken care of. You'll be able to see all the names that were listed there in the annals. And hey, that reminds me, coming up later this episode, they've got multiple sightings by credible people seen in Ireland where they saw UFOs, and they've even got it on tape in a couple of instances. So it's going to be interesting to see if that shows up on the Sci-Fi Channel or the evening news. But it certainly is interesting. Let's see, it's time to raise our eyes skyward, give thanks, and ask for help. Here are today's Magnificent Seven. Well, new member Michael Kelliher of Newton, Mass., he's searching for Savage and Keenan, and he's also given us some real good material for a couple of shows on the Irish Song and Recitation podcast, so you'll be hearing more from him. New member William Davis of Scanlon, New York, searching for Scanlan or Scanling. New member Judith Rowley of Ridgefield, Connecticut, searching for O'Connor, Kelliher. Kelliher spelled any of several different ways, as I'm sure we're all familiar with here if you've been listening for very long at all. And John Singer, we heard from John a couple of episodes ago, of New Haven, Connecticut, and I wanted to let you know we got your order for the Annals of Ireland by the Four Masters, and it's going to be shipped out and on the way this week. And John, remember, is searching for Byrnes and Power. And number 5, Sharon Forgy Landry of Bellevue, Washington, searching for Forgy or Forgy. I don't know exactly how you pronounce it, but it's spelled Forgey. Your Conquest Quest of Ireland, Volume 1, which is titled Irish Chiefs and Leaders, that has shipped. Number 6, Julia Chaplin of West Sussex in the UK. Your County Meath Genealogy and Family History Notes has shipped. Number 7, Donald McLean of Sissonville, West Virginia. Your Irish Families book has shipped. Now, check out our online search list. You got a link to that on our blog, or you can go to our webpage and click on that master search list and see a lot of other searches that are out there. And we're about ready to update that for the year, get all these new ones in there. And that reminds me, we've got to say thank you to all of our members, because without you, these podcasts and the books and the videos now, they just wouldn't be possible. So thanks a lot for all the help. It is appreciated. Now, moving up next, we're going to talk about the Irish family name of the day. Today's Irish family name is Scanlan, and they're also looking for Scanling, which is Skanling, which is sort of a not so common variant, possibly. And today's family history is in honor of Gold member William Davis, who's looking for info on his mother, who was a Scanlan from Otsego County in New York. And it says, I have researched ancestors to a Peter Scanling, in parentheses Scanlan, who immigrated to America in 1802 from Ireland. And he says he's interested in where he immigrated from and a general history of the Scanlans in Ireland. And while he's researching for those Scanlan family's roots, he thinks that Peter Scanling or Scanlan immigrated to the U.S. from Ireland in 1802, like I said before, and that they lived in upstate New York. Well, let's see if we can help them out here today, or if any of you out there have some history, let me know. I'll put you in touch. That goes for anybody. If you want to get in touch with one of the members, just let me know. I'll do my best to facilitate a setup. Now, the related spellings of the name. Well, you've got Scanlan, which is probably the best known, but there's O'Scannell, and there's Scanlane with an E at the end of the name. And, of course, those vowels can be O's or A's and changed at will. We all know that. And we found we got 4 or 5 different spellings in the Master Guide to the Various Spellings of Irish Family Names. That's real helpful if you're looking for your variant spellings, that's for sure. Now, if we take a brief look at the history of the name, you'll find that if you take a look at Irish place names, even places like Ballyscanlon and BallymacScanlan and Scanlan's Island, or Scanlan's Land, and you can find in Ireland. So that tells you that the Scanlans are of some note in the country when they got all those place names put after them there. And you can also find origins from more than one place or more than one person. So you have to research to find out to be sure which Scanlan line you come from. There are Mac Scanlans and there's O Scanlans, and some of them, they're in different counties. So you have to be aware, and there's some up north in North Ireland. So be sure to do your research. Now, if we look at Keating's history, you can find the family of O'Scanlan in County Kerry, and they also show it in County Limerick in the barony of Pubblebrien, right along with the MacArthur family. So that might have been some allies. And in the older territory of Oriel, we find Mac Scanlan, centered at BallymacScanlan, in the barony of Lower Dundalk in County Louth. Now, let me see. We also find counties Kerry, Clare, and Sligo are principal locations for the name in the 17th century. And then you'll find Scanlon, which is also related, was a principal name of Cork and Kerry at that time. And that continued to be true right on into the 19th century. The birth index showed about 54 births for the Scanlan name, spelled with an O, and 42 births for the Scanlan names that was spelled with an A, Scanlan. And they're concentrated, it looks like, on the west coast mainly, and then down in Cork too. And of course, you can find the O and the Mac prefixes before the name, or you can find it dropped completely. And generally, they say it's been dropped in most cases by the time you get down to modern times. And most of that's taken from the Book of Irish Families, Great and Small. That's the master volume to my Irish Families series, the Irish Families Project. It's got family history from every county in Ireland. And then we took off and we wrote those smaller books on each county, so to give you even more detail. And I tell you, if you take a look at the Irish Family Coats of Arms, they're sure listed in the Irish Book of Arms, which is another one of our books. And I think that they've got a kingly-looking coat of arms. If I'm not mistaken, there's 3 lions on that shield. So that's going to be interesting for the family members to take a look at. Well, let me see. We'll finish up on the name report here. If you take a look at the Freemaster Index from our webpage and you type in the name and see what comes up, it comes up 34 times on our webpage, and it lists the sources that we found the name in. And we found it in our families books in Clare, Kerry, Cork, and Limerick. And, of course, like we mentioned before, O'Scanlan is in Irish Genealogies, which is Volume 3 of Keating's History. And they're also listed in the Milesian Families of Ireland. The fourth section we have here is the Families of County Donegal. That'd be for those Scanlans up north. And then, moving into more modern times, I've got them in the Missouri Irish book that I came out with about 2 years ago. And then we have Mac Scanlans listed in the Annals of Ireland by the Four Masters. And Father Scanlan is found in Irish Families on the California Trail. That's one of the books I did on the Irish in America as well. So that finishes that up. I hope we give you a few ideas and let you know that there's a lot of directions to take and plenty of information you can research on your family there if the name's Scanlan. Well, it's time we move on to the websites of the week. Well, our first website's going to be the County Sligo Heritage and Genealogy Center. That goes right along with our genealogy book of the day here. And they're at sligoroots.com. If you go to my blog, you can just click on the link there and it'll take you over. And they're at Eris Redden, Temple Street, Sligo, Ireland. And I've got all that in the emails, everything on the blog if you need more detail. Now, if you take a look at their webpage, you might wonder, well, what's this all about? And they say that they offer a comprehensive genealogical service to people tracing their roots back to County Sligo. And, of course, Sligo's in the northwest coast of Ireland in the province of Connacht. And like many Irish counties, it suffered greatly due to immigration over the last 2 centuries. And they say that according to the census returns, 75,000 or more people immigrated from Sligo in the half century from 1851 to 1901. And at 1851 just catches the last half of the famine there. And it says prior to 1855, most of those immigrated from the port of Sligo, and they took their passage directly to North America, usually to New York, Boston, Quebec, and St. John's. But it also says that since the 1850s, the majority of the immigrants took the coastal steamers to Glasgow or Liverpool and then crossed the Atlantic in those steamers built just for that purpose. So that tells you, remember, if the departure says Glasgow or Liverpool, that doesn't mean they lived there. That just means that's where they took the ship out, and that's good for everybody who's researching. Let's move on to number 2. This one is more of a public service statement, I think. Bairdstown has a hole-in-the-wall camp. And if you've paid attention to Paul Newman or anything going on here in the States, you'll know the whole hole-in-the-wall gang was something that Paul Newman built his really generous reputation on. And Bairdstown was founded, the Bairdstown section, so to speak, was founded by Hollywood actor Paul Newman in 1994 after the success of his hole-in-the-wall camps in America. And he was looking for somewhere to set up a European camp headquarters, so he finally decided to set up the very first camp at Bairdstown Castle in Kilkenny. How about that? And it did real well. It's been going on for a while now, and one source says over 12,000 kids have been helped through it. So our thanks to Paul Newman, and we're sure sorry to see you go. You did a lot of good, and I remember when I was a kid and I saw Cool Hand Luke, that was quite a movie, at least at my younger age then. I really thought that was great. Well, that does it. Sorry to note the passing of actor Paul Newman, and wanted to salute the good work he's done in America and in Ireland. Now it's time for Curious News and Notes. Hey, you know what? UFOs have been spotted recently by the Garda, that's the police, politicians, and pilots in Ireland. So these aren't just idle people looking around in the sky that have nothing else to do. And all the sightings are centered around North Dublin and Meath. And it seems that they were all triangular in shape, and there was lights. I think, one fellow was taking a picture and lightning hit, and when he took the picture, and then when he developed it, he saw the lightning had illuminated an object. So look for more on that. If there's anything to it, it's going to come out. There was a little UFO conference over there in Ireland, and this all came out. So look for more. Some speculate it's tied to the recent excavations and the artifacts that have been dug up for some of the roadways, and somehow that might have triggered some of this to happen. I don't know. But it sure is an interesting aspect. Number 2. Good old Aer Lingus has been suffering losses along with a lot of people lately, and they're going to cut their prices to increase traffic and compete with the budget airlines. And they're also having concerns about laying people off, and they're trying to find ways around that. Number 3, if you want to find out the official Irish language name of a place in Ireland, there's a new webpage launched, and it gives you that information for 100,000 locations. And they include English and Irish versions of the name. So I'll have that link on the blog. It sure is interesting. And number 4, reports say that 1,500 pubs have closed in Ireland since 2001. Say it ain't so, Joe. And they say it's due to taxes on alcohol, increased home drinking, and a decline in overall consumption. Increased home drinking. Now that's interesting. Who'd rather drink at home instead of going to a pub and having some social interaction there? But I don't know if that has to do with more of these big places moving in and taking away from the little corner pub or not. But there's still plenty of them left. Number 5, the QE2, that's Queen Elizabeth II, the famous ocean liner. That cruiser's on her final voyage around the world. If you're lucky enough to be on it now, more power to you. But the rest of us just have to learn about it. But they said it was set to dock in Belfast just this weekend, and that's all part of the farewell trip. So I guess if you're up there close to Belfast, you could take a look at it on the final trip. Maybe you could stow away for a little bit. I don't know. Well, number 6, we'll just say again, Paul Newman, who is noted for that hole-in-the-wall camp, he built the camp at Barrettstown Castle in County Kildare that he founded in 1994. Well, I think that does it for the day. It's been a good one. Remember to send your comments by clicking the contact link on our webpage at irishroots.com, or send by mail to our American address at the Irish Roots Cafe, Box 7575, Kansas City, Missouri, 64116. Leave your message or report on things in your part of the world when you call my phone recorder at 816-256-3360. You can Skype me at Irish Roots Cafe. And members foot the bill, so they get first priority, but we're open to all. And by the way, a big thank you to all of our members. And away.